Hi guys, it is Dustin.
Hey guys, it's Amanda.
So we are here today and I have a lot of things that I want to talk about today. I'm really excited.
Well, why don't you start it off?
Hit it off.
Oh, before we start, we realized that we came up with a title for our podcast, but we haven't really told you what it is. You guys obviously know the acronym because it's all over our social media. But yeah, so the title is officially How Can I Fucking Help You? Whoa. But that is such a long name, obviously. So we've had to put it down into an acronym, which kind of works. What's the acronym again?
HCIFHY.
FHY, yeah. So it kind of
rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes.
I suck at remembering things. That's the only reason why I remember it, because it rhymes.
Yeah, perfect. And so we thought we'd kind of like sign off every time with have a great fucking day. So we'll see. Anyway.
It's good.
That was kind of, we realized that we did that last time, but we never introduced the name. So
also,
guys, it's our first podcast.
Speaking of
Give
names,
us some slack.
We've discovered a talent of Amanda's, and she is really good at naming things.
Yeah, I've been naming all of the episodes. So, we'll see how long that goes for. Because I just think it's been flukes. I'm not really that good at anything. So.
Oh, whatever. You're really good at a lot of things, especially naming things.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming. Like, she will come up out of nowhere saying, oh, why don't we just call it...
Yeah, like
blah, blah, blah.
I try to just like sum up the episode and what we talked about,
Yeah.
and then just come up with something that would sum up the episode. Because we
much.
talk about quite a bit of stuff. But anyway, why don't
Very
you
good at
start
that.
us off today?
Okay, so I was thinking while I was on the transit with Justin today, and I was thinking about relationships. So I know that that's a very touchy subject, obviously, because a lot of places you're not really supposed to have relationships. But
And when you say relationships, what do you mean?
Well, also getting onto that, even though there are relationships, there are also friendships. So I also want to talk about that as well. So we'll get into the touchy stuff about relationships, like sexual relationships, but then we'll also go into friendships and working with family and all that stuff, because that happens a lot. And I have a couple experiences doing that. So
Cool. And I have a rant I want to go on later. So
yes. Oh, please.
You guys can all join me on that because I'm pretty sure it.
We'll talk about it later. We'll keep you guys on a
have something to
cliffhanger.
add to it?
But I'm just gonna say I was experiencing what
really?
you just went through. What we're gonna talk about
Okay,
later.
cool.
So we
Sweet.
can get on that. Okay, so I do want to talk about relationships. So the thing that I really want to discuss about relationships is working with your family. So that's something that I've had to deal with before, and it's almost like from all the experiences that I've ever had with working with family, it's almost blissful. It's really strange because you think about your family, you're like, oh, I just want to see you a couple hours and I want to leave, right?
Yeah, right.
The last thing you want to do, or the last thing you think you want to do, is work with your family. But on the contrary, I don't agree with that now because I have experienced that. So we were camping once. We camp at this place called Roshan Sands. It's this huge lake in Alberta. And around this lake, it's just all of these different campgrounds. One's called Pelican Point. The other one's called Roshan Sands. The other one's Black Three Hills or something like that. I can't remember. So my mom and my dad love going camping, and so they take us there, or they used to take us there when we were kids. So this one time we went to Roshan Sands, and we were just doing the regular routine of going camping. We set everything up, and then it was like a couple days. We just sit at the campfire, we go for walks, etc., etc. And I don't know how it came up, honestly, but we discovered that these couple were looking for a couple of people to help glaze their house. So what this is, it's basically like a varnishing. So you varnish the wood, and obviously all of these houses are by the lake. So these are lake houses, and a lot of these lake houses are built with actual wood. So you have to varnish them every year,
Right.
To protect them, to keep them
from the weather,
and to protect them from decay and insects, et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. So I hopped on that the moment I found out that was a job opening, and it was really awesome. It was $60 a day. So,
Not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
How old were you?
I was, I'm thinking 14, 15.
Okay.
And my sister was probably 16, 17, around that time. And so it was $60 each.
Nice.
Yeah. So they got the two of us to do it. And so we're there, and it is a shitty job. It was a shitty job. You're literally trying to clean the wood. You're trying to clean these houses, and it's a cabin, right? So there's spiders, insects everywhere. Honestly, it's everywhere, and they're crawling on you. It's disgusting. But even though that was happening, it felt almost like a dream. It was kind of really cool being able to work with my sister, and my sister's name is Jasmine. I have other siblings too, but just to keep it simple, I'll just let you know that my sister's name is Jasmine. And she and I basically just had a really fun time. We would constantly talk. We would, like, while we were doing it, but then there were moments of let's just get to fucking work. And we would just do it, and we wouldn't care. And this went on for I think about maybe 4 days. But this was like an all-day thing. And so we would varnish the house, we'd varnish their garage, then we would varnish their smaller garage that was in front of their house, maybe a couple yards in front of their house. And yeah, it was great, and I loved it. And every time I think about it, I just think about good stuff. It's not like, oh, those spiders on my arm, that's disgusting. It's just like it was complete and entirely. I was entirely compelled with joy. That's pretty much it.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Would you feel the same if this had been, say you and her working on the same team at the same cafe? Because technically where we work, you're not allowed to work with family. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. But do you think you'd feel the same way if you had to work with her every day, all day?
So the thing for me is I don't see my family often.
Right.
So naturally I would say yes.
Yeah.
But if I'm really thinking critically.
Right.
I would...
Like, imagine she lived here.
Yes.
And she got the job.
Exactly.
Would you want to see her every day?
I would not mind it. If I had to live with her and work with her, then that would be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
But if I could just see her working, I would be... If I had to go to work with her, I think I would be completely fine. And I'm very confident in saying that. She is... Like, obviously, my siblings are annoying, but I love them so much.
No, of course.
And I think... Jasmine especially. Maybe some of my other siblings I would be able to. But
like, you have several siblings, whereas I have just one. So I think to myself, would I want to work with him? No. I'd want to, even though I love him to death, I'd want to keep it separate.
Yeah. I have 4 siblings. And with Jasmine, she's just an entirely different person than I am.
Well, that's cool.
And it's weird. It's a weird relationship. But... If I had to work with her, I would. And also, on top of that too, it just reminds me that I did actually work with my little brother Josiah in Sobeys Bakery. It's basically the Safeway to Vancouver. So, but anyway, that was something that really struck me. That was really interesting about working with family, because it feels different.
Yeah, I bet.
And it obviously wasn't long term. So I think maybe like if you begin to work with them for a longer time, maybe it could get more intense. But I think at the most part, I just always enjoy my time with her. She's a little crazy. She's a little cray.
Yeah, because you're so normal.
I am the normalest person in this entire...
The normalist. That's a word.
The normalest person in this entire building right now. Is it
that's a frightening thought then.
Yeah.
If you're the most normal. No, I'm kidding. Totally. Well, let's talk about working with friends, because I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
Okay.
I feel like it's motivating to come to work when I work with people who I like. And obviously, if I'm working with people that I like, they're going to become my friends.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would say the majority of the people I work with are my friends. And I love it. And if they weren't, I don't know. It would be hard to enjoy work as much.
Well, I think I'm more friends with you than some of the other baristas.
Oh, for sure.
And so it was, Wednesdays we used to work. We used to work on Wednesdays, and then Thursdays I used to work on my own with other people, without you.
Yeah.
And that was, it felt longer. It felt like the day just went on longer. But then every time you came in, it was like, oh, this is really enjoyable because you're more engaging. And I can actually say the same thing for Shalini too. When the moment she walks in, it feels better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shalini. is another person. We should have her for our first
Definitely.
guest. So that's what's so cool about working with friends. I think when they come in and you're just enjoying your time, and it's really good. I really like it.
But on the same note, I would just like to say I'm glad that you and I only work 2 days a week together. Maybe 3 would be fine, but any more than that, I think it's good that we don't, just because we hang out a lot in the week.
We do, yeah.
And on the weekends we see each other. So I just, too much of anything I think is just...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I don't have a cap. I feel like I'm more oblivious that way, which is kind of interesting. I think I will stay with, in terms of, we'll call it a group circle for long periods of time, and then like eventually I'll go out and then I'll come back in. I'm very that type of person.
Right.
But I definitely see what you mean. Like sometimes you just have to be in people's presence for so long, and then like go away and then and have you. It's not like you want to go away from them. It's more like you need to have your own time, because you need to be on your own, and you have to like be able to function on your own and to have peace. They call it me time. I think that's what it is.
We call it self-care in my field.
Self-care. Oh yeah, you want to tell people your job, what you do?
Yeah, I work at a cafe.
Well, you also...
Well, no, my education's in social work, like counseling. Yeah. So I've had a pretty hard time finding work in the field, although not hard time finding volunteer work. So I have tons of volunteer experience in the field, but no paid experience. So, stay tuned.
She's really good at what she does. It's almost a comfort to talk to her a lot of the time.
Aw, thanks.
Well, like you can feel it. You can hear the experience.
You can hear and feel the empathy.
The empathy, which is really
I majored in empathy.
So
what's the difference between empathy and sympathy?
There's
a big difference,
many differences. Oh, speaking of that, there's also I have another question with jealousy and envy.
Oh.
There's differences between those two.
Jealousy and envy?
Yeah, jealousy.
Oh, absolutely.
Jealousy involves 2 people, and envy involves 3 people. So, jealousy involves... do you remember what that is, Justin? Because you read it.
Jealousy?
Yeah. Jealousy is in 2 people, but it's when you're wanting something from them.
Justin, can our listeners hear you right now?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
My mic's set up the same as you guys.
And then envy is there's a lack of something.
Oh.
You have a lack of something from that person. So,
but with jealousy, it's you're afraid that you're going to lose something.
Oh, right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Words, English language. But anyway, yeah. So.
But I was also going to say, just on the note of working with friends, I also think it depends on the working style. So like, for example, with you, we have very similar working styles, so I could work with you more. But with other people that work at the store that I've noticed, I don't really enjoy working with them as much as I do hanging out with them. I see sort of like things about them that I'm like, oh, like, why are they doing it like that? Or, oh, like, why don't they do this first or whatever? And it's not like I'm not judging them as a friend, but I'm like, oh, and it's sort of like...
Well, honestly,
changes the way I not feel about them, but I'm just like, oh, like it kind of bugs. I don't know how to explain.
Well, let's make real talk, because I think that, for people who are listening right now, obviously there's probably a lot of people who work with their friends. I think it's perfectly normal to analyze a friend and find things that bother you because you're around them so much. It's a completely normal thing. I think the important thing to remember is how do you execute and how do you deal with those situations once you find those things? Do you tell them about it? Do you ask yourself, okay, is it them or is it me? What is it me that I'm in? There's something in me that I'm finding that is projecting to them. Like there's so many things you can ask yourself and healthier ways to do it. And I think that's really cool about it. I'm really, when it's someone I don't like, it's a lot easier for me. I can just tell them to their face and it doesn't bother me. If someone's agitating me and I'm really good friends with them, I do a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah,
I do
a
lot of like
thought into it.
How am I going to execute that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And I think, that's pretty much it. There was actually something that we went through, and I came and I talked to you about it, and then you were like, oh yeah, you kind of already knew. I don't remember what it was specifically, but you apologized, and I wasn't even looking for an apology, but it was like, it was such a natural thing to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah,
either.
I can't remember what it was. Do you remember what it was, Justin? Oh, right. Oh, yeah. So we were high, and then something happened, and then blah, 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 blah. And then I think you thought that you were over saying something, and then we never felt that, and then you apologized for it.
Oh, I kind of remember this, but I don't remember what it was though. Anyway, It doesn't matter.
But and that's what's
no,
so
and
cool
that's
about that.
so and that is, see right there, what I did is something that I would probably have an issue with again. Like, you're hanging out outside of work, things happen, and then you might bring it up when you're working together because, it's like we're all still friends, nothing's changed except just the venue's changed and there's people around. So, of course, I probably felt like, oh, shoot, like if someone heard that or, maybe I exposed you and I just wasn't thinking about my surroundings. So that's something that I feel like that could happen again, and so I need to be more aware.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm thinking that's what would have happened, but
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like, and that sort of dynamic is really intense when you're working with friends because you just never, you have to, sometimes you want to talk to them like you're just with them, right? And then you forget everything around.
Exactly, yeah.
And a lot of the times I actually like it. I love that because you get to really remember that, oh, I'm a fucking human being. I get to breathe. I get to interact with people. I'm not just here being a robot working and like having my head down. I can actually communicate with my friends and have a healthy and good place to work at.
For sure.
That's one of the biggest things I learned at the last place or a long time ago where I worked at. I worked at a bakery, and I really thrive to create a healthy work environment with people, even people I don't like. I really try to not say as much to people to stir drama, but if it gets too out of hand, I make sure that I try to control it. And that for me that's probably my biggest weakness with that. But I love to have a healthy work environment. And I learned that a long time ago because you can have a great place to work at, but if you are in bad terms with people,
like if
done.
The company's no good, or not the company as in like the company, the people that you work with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That leads me to another thing because not only did I work with my sister, I worked with my brother too, my little brother Josiah, and it was in the bakery. I worked in the bakery.
Oh yeah, right.
But he worked in the produce section, and it was in a grocery store. So it's not like we were working directly, but we could see each other. We could see each other working. We'd sometimes talk to each other.
You have all the same coworkers.
Exactly, and it was interesting because not a lot of stuff happened between me and him. I think it's because we were just guys, and we were just like straight into what we wanted to do in terms of work. We knew what we had to do, and then when we would see each other, we would talk and stuff like that. But it was pretty nice too. We were distant, but it was still nice. So that was another thing I wanted to bring up too. I think for people who are listening, if you have if you have a person or like a sibling, that you're working with, I think the best way is to reach out and try to look at them in a different light, because now you're in a different environment. So you're not just at home, or you're not just at your parents' house anymore.
Right, yeah.
So it's kind of like that's a perfect opportunity for you to look at your sibling in a different light, in a positive way. And that is what I would call growth, I guess. But it's a really cool way to see someone differently, but in a better way.
For sure.
Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, really.
Cool. And then the last topic on relationships, sexy relationships.
Bow chicka wow wow. So I think this is more your field.
It is. You know what? I have done it too many times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This recent one. Not my first rodeo, honey. Oh, I've done it twice before. I know. You'd think I would have learned, right? But you just never know. You know what? Yeah. And I'm like too old to not be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm 31. I'm looking for my partner. I'm looking for my person. So I'm not going to discriminate and be like, oh, no, like my partner would not be somebody who works here. Like, you don't know. So, of course, if I feel something, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is basically all I have to say on it.
Yeah.
Super fun when you're doing it. Like when you're working, when you're working out and you're working. But once it ends, it's just not. It's not fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's very uncomfortable.
Do you think you could redeem the relationship in terms of making friends with him?
Well, with who are we talking about?
The current one.
The current one. I doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
Like he doesn't really affect me. Like,
that's good. Then that
and
really
also
doesn't matter.
he's what's the word? He is he's on a working visa. So he's not from Canada.
And he's going to be going.
Yeah.
soon.
So he's not going to be there permanently. I mean, who is really going to be there permanently anyway? But yeah, no. But I was going to say the one. So I had one person when I worked at a restaurant. We were both servers. That was a way long time ago. That was just like when that ended, super awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think one of us quit. No, shortly after, not too long. And then the second time, I was a supervisor and he was a supervisor at a previous store.
Oh.
Yeah. And we dated for quite a while. We were friends. We all hung out with the same people. When it ended, I don't know, it was fine. You know, we were able to be friends. And we still keep in touch. He's still on my, Facebook and stuff. So, yeah. And then in terms of this one really didn't last that long, enough to really be effective on me.
Yeah. I could
but
definitely see
I
it.
would like to just be like friend, just be cool again. So I feel like we're kind of getting there. So we'll see. But I'm not thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting too because based off of that, the recent one, it wasn't even about. I mean, this is coming from me, so
right, because
correct me if I'm wrong.
You were
so.
Witnessing it.
Yeah, it felt like the relationship you were in was good, and then it was done, and you were completely fine. I think what got you and
are you talking about the relationship I just got out of?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was in a relationship, guys, for about 2.5 years with somebody. It was very off and on, and I finally just ended it for good about 2 months ago, I'd say. And then this or maybe 3 months ago, and then this work romance sort of happened about a month and a half after we broke up.
Yeah, I'm talking about the work romance.
Okay.
So and it was interesting because you were like, oh, this is. Okay, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like totally chill about it. And then I think what got you was the fact that he wasn't responding back.
Right.
And that was like a so strange for him to do that.
I know. It was because I thought that the relationship ended mutually in a way. And then I felt like he was upset with me, and he wasn't speaking to me. He would ignore me, not like respond to texts or whatever. And so then I was like, well, why are you upset with me? Like, it was just a lot of misunderstandings, I think, in the relationship. And I thought because, English is a second language, and that's not going to stop me. I mean, my parents have that situation.
Exactly, yeah.
My dad's second language is English, and and I didn't think that was going to be an issue. But this guy is, he's young and his English is really not good. Like compared to my dad, my dad's got way better English because my dad's been here for 30 years. This guy's been here for like 2 months.
I can vouch for that. He's definitely a lot more coherent.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever. Maybe it wasn't even, maybe it had nothing to do with language. Maybe it just was, there was just no chemistry there further than what we had. You know what I mean? It took its course, and that's it.
In terms of the relationship, I think you dealt with that pretty easily. What advice do you have people for if in the aftermath? Like, what if they decide to stay? What if they decide to not acknowledge you anymore? Like, what advice? Because that is what's interesting, I think, about the whole thing.
My advice, I think, would be, this is what I feel like I would, if I could go back and do it over, I would have just taken it very slowly, really gotten to know him. And then, determine whether or not what we had was serious, whether or not it could go the long haul. And I think that if I had waited it out a week extra or 2 weeks, I would have been like, okay, like this is not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Best to just stay friends. But, I got intimate with this person. Is that too much?
No, that's not.
Okay, I got intimate with this person.
That's what happens.
And I know, but usually I don't jump into that. But he was very persuasive. No, I'm kidding.
Hence intimate.
Yeah.
intimacy.
No, he forced me. No, I'm kidding. I mean, obviously I wanted to do it, but it was, now when I look back now, I'm like, okay, you could have waited another week, slut. Jesus. Okay, but I did it. And you know what? It's funny because Dustin actually asked me about a week into it. He was like, is this a rebound? And I was like, no, like I don't really rebound. I like this person. I've connected with him. Mm-hmm. But now that I look back on it, and I know who he is more now, And if I had known that before, I would have been like, he's great, but not for me. And he's, I'm just not, we're just in different stages in our lives. He's a little bit younger than me too, which I don't usually date younger guys. I usually date people who are older than me.
Right.
So that was also part of it. But where was I going with this?
La 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 la. Will she find it?
Just wait till we're high. We're really gonna lose track.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my God! Speaking of high, anyway, that's my advice for you guys. Basically,
yeah, I think you were clear.
Really, just wait it out. And if you're like, yeah, like I really like this person, then fuck it, go for it. And then at the end, if it doesn't work out, do your best to to stay amicable.
Exactly.
But
what
honestly,
does amicable mean? Can you?
Just to stay friendly.
Okay.
You don't need to be like really good friends, but
that was
hi,
more for me because
bye,
I'm stupid.
How are you? Oh, okay.
I was like, what does amicable mean? That's such a good word.
So speaking, so that would be my advice. But speaking of getting high, Justin and I, we did an edible.
Oh, fuck yeah.
On Friday evening. That was fun.
I found Amanda's true calling to be a comedian. She needs to do that right now.
Well, the funny thing is they actually have a roommate who is a comedian.
Yes.
Who's trying to do that
Wonderful
for a living.
Comedian.
She is funny. It's like she's always on point. And I guess that's what I would expect from somebody who does this for a living.
Yes.
She does like voices and she does stand up, right?
That's her main, like she loves comedy. Her main thing is she wants to do voice acting.
We're going to have her on here.
Yeah, so she obviously would love to be here and to do that sort of thing. I also know someone who I graduated with in the at the game and development design school where he was looking for voice actors. So I let him know that
awesome.
I have a friend. So hopefully that can happen. I know that would be really cool. So, but yeah, she is great. And we did get really baked.
Well, yeah, because we had the edible, then we smoked, like 4 times?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. They were like little guys.
I really pushed it.
Ends.
I kind of pushed the...
No, actually, what you were trying to push on me is the Big Mac, and I would like to say that what's the word? I did not...
Succumb.
Weaken. Yes, I did not succumb to the Big Mac. I had ice cream, and that's it. And it was damn good.
She had an entire bucket of ice cream.
No, I didn't.
The entire thing was empty.
But you helped
Wait, we
me.
shared, though.
Actually, the 3 of us ate the entire bucket of ice cream.
Oh, my God.
But still.
I probably would have eaten the whole thing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Anyway, so I had come over after work, and I had eaten dinner at home. And I literally wasn't hungry. Like, that's it. Anyway, but he was still trying to push this Big Mac on me, but you guys would have been so proud. I was like, no, I really don't need that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ice cream was amazing, and it was a fun night. We were laughing like
it was really
crazy.
Good. And it was funny because I gave the Big Mac to Michelle.
Yeah, and she ate it. Yeah.
And you were talking about,
the way she was eating it.
It was very sexual.
Yeah, but like it was so like, wow, you make McDonald's look good.
Yeah, like you should go in those you should get into a commercial with McDonald's.
She was like bent over kind of over the counter, and she had like the Big Mac in like one hand, and she was like taking a bite, and nothing fell out. It was like perfect. It was just like,
may I add,
I was like,
things
how do you
always
do that?
fall out?
Yeah, especially out of the Big Mac. It's like, you got sauce, you got the lettuce. Oh my God, she did it so gracefully.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah,
I give her a 10.
She wasn't even high.
No,
she was not high.
Let's also talk about the fact.
For the record,
we talked about period blood, and we talked about a video about period blood. They took Amanda
story
and
was
Michelle.
So much funnier though.
Amanda and Michelle took that video, and they made it this sort of continuum of
it was like basically an act.
Yeah, this funny bit, and they just went on for I would say a good 20 solid minutes.
Oh
you
my
just
God,
didn't
that
stop,
was too
and
funny.
me and Justin were sitting there like the audience laughing, and. Then Michelle came out with her story, and that was funny. Just how, like, I don't know if we should share this, but we'll let her share it if she wants to. But it was so funny. Like,
I would love her to actually tell that story on our podcast.
I bet you she uses that as material.
Oh
for
yeah,
her
she
comedy
does.
bit,
She
too.
does. I think, but I think that our listeners would. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
They would appreciate it.
I mean, it's comedy, y'all.
Exactly. So anyway, that was a great night. And
that was such a good night.
We should bring that energy into this this room.
Oh yeah,
and let it go. So
cool. Well, yeah. So is that pretty much it on relationships in the workplace?
We've talked about siblings.
What about relationships with customers? That was the other one you wanted to touch on.
Thank you for that. So I think generally it's the same thing as if you were working with a coworker, but there's a little bit of a difference because you're kind of at a disadvantage because you are serving them. So that's the biggest difference. So you can't really just show your opinion to them. You can't, if you're agitated with them, you can't, say, hey, you're being a dick, or hey.
That would probably be best said outside of the workplace.
Yes, or you're being crazy or creepy. So I want to bring that all back to my experience with this one customer.
Okay.
So I'm very shallow.
Are you?
When it comes to first impressions. If you, and it's not so much looks, it's more so how you act. So
first impressions for you are important.
Very important.
Somebody needs to realize if I'm meeting you for the first time and you want to impress you.
And the nice thing about that with me is I don't care if I meet someone for the first time how I look. So it's kind of like a nice balance. Like I'm kind of more focused on you, and if you don't like me, then I don't care. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
So basically, fuck you.
Yeah. So this person just didn't roll with me very well. He came in every day. What customer
is this at our store?
Yes. What customer has the time in their day to come to the same place every day? I don't understand it. You can try people to convince me as much as you want. I will never understand it. If you have the time in your day to come to the same place over and over and over again just to grab a coffee, then you must really want to put your dick in something, because that is just insanity to me. So this one customer particularly comes to the store.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
All the time, and honestly expects a full-out conversation with you, and it's exhausting. So I'm always ignoring this customer. I'll be like, hey, here's your coffee, have a nice day. And that's as far as it'll go. And this person has recently started to give us boxes of donuts.
And not just, any boxes of donuts. Not like Tim Hortons, okay? No
not
offense,
like 99
Justin,
cent out the showcase.
This place is like $3 a donut.
High
it's
end.
Ridiculous. Yeah. High end. Anyway. So I'm thinking like he usually buys a dozen donuts, which I think probably costs about $30, $35 maybe. That's,
times that by like 2 times a week.
Yeah, he does it probably 2 times a week.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Sorry for yelling. I'm just getting very emotional.
No, you didn't even yell. But yeah, that's now that you put it that way. I mean,
he's a good person.
Is he?
I think he's a good person,
I think
but
so
there's
too.
something there. And so my thing is when you're working with customers, that's my pet peeve. So I'm going to give you advice for that, because that's the only type of customer that agitates me, and it might not agitate people. So that's good for you. If that doesn't agitate you, just treat them with kindness and love. That's the best thing you can do. For me, though, if you're agitated by this type of customer, the best thing you can do is stay neutral with this person.
Yes.
Don't show that you are agitated with them. Don't show that you are a lack of, and don't show that you want conversation with him, because then he will give what you don't want. That's the best advice I have for you. If you are required to talk with the customers, if that's your job, via my job, to communicate with them, a really good way to go through the loophole is to make sure you're with someone that loves to talk and will talk to that person, and you can kind of be there and join in a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I do that with Shalini. So if Shalini and me are together, if he's there, I'll make sure I can pipe in a little bit and join in the conversation and then pull out. So that's my best advice. Be neutral. Don't invite yourself into his world, and don't invite, or her world, and don't show that you want to listen to them, but be neutral and be nice and just do what you have to do. Here's your coffee, or here's your groceries, or thank you, I have your insurance papers, there you are, or just like any sort of work environment you're in, leave it at that.
So
that's the best advice I have for you.
My relationship with this particular customer that Dustin's talking about, I find this person really nice. I don't mind small talk with him here and there. But then he asked me to he asked if I wanted to go to lunch with him one day. And of course, on the spot, I was like, oh, yeah, like, sure, you know. And this guy's married, and he's a bit older. I would say he's about 10, maybe 12 years older than me. So he's probably I would say he's like mid-40s. That's my guess. Such a nice guy. But the thing is I just didn't, not that I felt creeped out. I know that he's happily married. But he just said, you know, if you ever want to go for lunch and talk, and then we can go to this place for dessert after. And I was thinking, like, that's a bit much. I don't want to speak to you out of work. I just don't. I don't know.
And let's be clear, because that's your preference. And we're not saying that, let's pretend you were a guy and he asked that.
Yeah, maybe somebody would say, oh, this guy is good for networking. Maybe I can get something from him.
Well, no, not even that. Like, if you were, like, because I'm thinking more of, like, you know, the gender swap. So if you were a guy and he asked that, you would still say no, it being your person. It has nothing to do with, oh, I have a boyfriend, or I have this, or I'm in a, like, you have a wife. Like, it's nothing to do. It's just a weird... It's a weird thing to bring up.
It's a weird dynamic, and I just want to keep what we have in the store.
Exactly.
At the store.
Exactly. And that's a really great tip to point out, is like, if you have every right to keep your relationship with your customers in the store. It doesn't have to go outside. Unless there's some fucking amazing person, then okay, go for it, but you don't.
Right, unless there's a specific reason, like, for example, oh, hey, Amanda, I've got, you know, this private practice I'm opening up. I'm looking for social workers. Okay, that would be different.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you said networking. Yes.
Yes, networking. Yes. So, but I'm sure the listeners are wondering how I eventually got out of that. Well, I just avoided him for a couple weeks. He basically, I mean, like, I would see him and I would just keep it really, like, quick, like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, good. And then, you know, keep myself busy because I'm a supervisor, so I can kind of, you know.
She's a responsible adult.
Yeah, I mean, I got lots of stuff to do, so I can, you know. So after a while, I think he sort of got the idea. Because he kind of asked me here and there after, like, oh, you know, the offer's still up. I'm like, okay, yeah, great, thanks. I think he now knows I'm not interested. I think that he's left it alone. I don't think he's going to ask me again.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because he gave me his card with not his phone number, which was kind of nice, because that would have been kind of creepy. His email and his work phone number. And a couple of my colleagues found the card, and they were like, oh my God, like, is this yours? I'm like, oh yeah, you know, this guy gave it to me. And they were just laughing. They were like, oh my God, so that's why he brings donuts. I'm like, no.
Well, you know what?
Why does he bring donuts? I don't know. I know it's hard for us to believe because we're so jaded and we live in the city where people don't do things like this. But honestly, I think it's genuine. And I know he doesn't expect anything back. Like once in a while,
I hope so.
We'll give him a free beverage because, you know, he spends like $35. But I mean, that's it. And I don't even think he expects that. So honestly, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to say he's a nice guy.
Uh-huh.
He's just, you know,
sharing
the donut love.
I'm going to overthink it, and I'm going to assume the worst. But I am hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Okay, but what would be your suspicion of him? Like, what would be the worst?
My thing is, I'll start first of, I'm very hopeful. If he is doing it out of genuine care and love,
would he
I'll be like, you know what? Awesome, great. And then I'll feel better. But I'm still suspicious because
fair enough.
There's this sort of I'm not the best at reading people. Like, I'm not entirely good.
Neither am I. I take people at face value.
Yeah. But I'm really good at kind of understanding those nuances in people, those mannerisms, and picking up on them. And there's just something that is very off about him. And there has been history with him that we've talked about.
Yes.
And you know, obviously you can't, like, hold on to something like that. Because, I mean, he's probably, you know, has said sorry and whatever. So I don't want to hold onto him for that. But that kind of just shows a little bit of, ooh, what's going on here. So I'm pushing more towards I'm hopeful. I hope he's genuine, and that would be really awesome.
I can see why you have doubts though.
And I'm always, that's the type of person I am. I always have my toe in the, like, one toe in the water. Like, it's kind of like I make sure, like, I'm like, all right, let's try this. Good, you're a good person. But I'm like,
wait it out, because you know what, guys? People show their true colors fairly quickly.
Show your true colors shining bright. Oh, through. Sorry.
Beautiful.
I don't know this. Oh, thanks, Justin. Oh my God. Anyway, but for me, that I don't do that with people that I'm close with via Justin, via Michelle, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a comforting thing for you guys to know. Just don't worry about that.
Michelle is their roommate, the comedian.
Yes, the comedian. So I have a handful of people I'm like, walls down, and let it fly.
For
That
sure.
sounded so stupid.
Walls down.
Let it fly.
Let it fly.
We should make a song about that. Let it fly.
So forget the podcast thing. We're just going to start being recording artists.
By the way, we have a green screen in here, so we might as well.
Yeah, he's all like in the mood. He's
Music
like,
video.
I feel like I need to start singing. Actually, Justin, you have a really nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
I can't remember when I noticed it. I think it was last week, and I was like, damn. Like, I know
It
that.
was Sam Smith. I was singing one of his new songs.
Is it the goodbye one?
Yeah,
I
Justin
like
loves that song.
one.
Such a good song.
My girlfriend, I was just talking to her last night. She's going to Sam Smith with her mom next month. Yeah, she bought tickets.
Oh, and also I think the other song was by Calvin Harris. That girl's like, I'd rather be hard to love than easy to leave.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know you like that one now. And so I was singing that one too. Are we supposed to name titles of songs?
Oh, that's fine. Actually, I think you only get 5 seconds though to sing it. Otherwise, it becomes copyright.
Oh, well, we better
That's probably
stop doing
something I
that.
should have told you.
Snap.
This is hashtag we don't know what we're doing still podcast.
I can't sing for shit.
I feel like you could. I still think Justin could too.
Are you kidding? I'm so bad.
Justin, you had something that was relatable. You worked with your brother, right?
Oh, that's right. Well, this is going way back in the conversation though.
Well, I mean, I know. Oh, yeah. That's fine. Is it fine?
Awkward silence.
Is that bad?
I don't know.
Hey,
All
guys,
right.
we're gonna go back into our customer service.
We're gonna travel back in time.
Working with family. Justin's got a story. I don't have a story. I don't never worked with family. Thank
Really?
God.
No.
Well, I guess you have your brother. You've never worked with your mom. Oh my god.
Nope. Thank God. Okay, Justin, take it away.
Dustin's dying over there.
I can just imagine working with her.
I
oh
would
my
pay-
God.
I would pay $100 to watch you work with your mom for a day.
I'd
I'm
probably
not
have to
kidding
rip
you.
her a new one. No, really, she's never seen that side of me. Be like, well, honey, I'm not your I'm not your daughter right now. I'm your supervisor, so you can just sit down and listen up to me.
She would be like, "Oh, why do we have to put those cups in there? That doesn't make any sense. We should.
We
put them
don't
out
pay you to ask questions, honey.
That would
All
be
right,
great.
Justin, take it away.
Let it fly."
Yeah. So I also used to work at a cafe. It's a different one than Amanda and Dustin. But
That's why I said, oh, I think I brought it up earlier. Sorry.
what did you bring up?
Well, I was talking about the donuts, and I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
it's not Tim Hortons. So he used to work at
Oh,
Tim
yeah,
Hortons.
yeah.
You don't work there anymore, so you don't have to. It's fine.
That's actually
fine.
true. Yeah.
Tim
okay.
Hortons can take it.
No, now that I don't work there, I think it's fine. Yeah, so I used to work at Tim Hortons. I worked there a grand total of 3 years, I think. Not all at once. I took a few breaks in between. But so I think I was working there for about a year. And then my brother, he just turned like 15 or 16. And that's about the time when you get a job, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the easiest...
Unless you're spoiled like me. I got my first job at 18.
Oh wow.
God, that's crazy.
Thanks, Mom.
14 was when I first started my
Holy
job.
crap.
Yeah, I think I was 16.
13, 14, my paper route.
Oh, if you count a paper
actually,
route, yeah.
I did the paper route too.
At what age?
Me too.
Like 12.
Oh, well then you're fine.
Okay, but
that's
I don't know.
that's an official job.
I'd throw half that shit in the recycling anyway. I swear to God. I'd be like, nah, they don't need this.
I did too. Like there were flyers and papers.
Just give me my paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like $100
It
a
was a
month.
lot for that back then. Like, it was
Yeah.
good money. Anyway,
It
sorry,
was.
Justin.
It's
sorry.
okay.
We do this a lot
You
together.
do.
We're terrible
do
people.
you want to hear my story or not?
do.
We do.
Just joking. So yeah, I was working at Tim Hortons. I had moved up to supervisor after about a year, and actually no, sorry, this was before I became a supervisor. I was just like a well-established employee. Like I knew everything, and because I'd been there for so long.
So you were just like a barista status, basically.
Essentially,
which would be at
yeah.
our store. Barista,
Yeah.
supervisor, ASM,
Yeah.
SM.
Yeah, I did become a supervisor later, but I think that was at the next location. Anyways, not important. So yeah, my brother, the best, easiest course of action was to work where I work because it's less intimidating. Like I could ease him in a lot easier, and yeah, he would know somebody, so it would be nice.
That's good.
Yeah, and I was able to refer him and everything like that. So it was so weird though because. Kind of like what you were saying with your mom, Amanda. Like it wouldn't. You're not really her daughter at that point.
No.
Like you have completely different roles. Like I was the trainer because I trained my brother too. On his first day, I showed him around the store.
Oh.
It was really weird though because
They might almost call that conflict of interest.
yeah, I mean it probably wasn't very smart, but it worked out. So we get along really well. Yeah, so. It was so weird though because I didn't really look at him as my brother. I just saw him as like a new person that I needed to train.
That's awesome that you were able to kind of turn that brother...
Like disassociate sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was nice. And so I treated him exactly like I would any other new employee. And so I like the way that I talked to him, it was exactly the same. I showed him everything and I tested him too on the computer, like testing him on where all the bagels are and how to tell the difference between all the donuts and things like that. And we talked about it when we got home at the end of that day. And he's like, yeah, like I felt really weird too. I didn't see you as my brother either. I just saw you as somebody teaching me. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, we're lucky that we get along so well, but it's really nice that we were able to disassociate like that.
That's awesome. And also, like, he probably, even though he said that he didn't see you as his brother, he probably felt comfortable with you.
Yeah,
because obviously you are his brother. Mm-hmm. So when you were training him and showing him new things, he probably felt like more at ease. Whereas if you were just being taught by a stranger, you're like, okay, like, oh my God, like, gotta really pay attention if I don't get it. Like, do I ask again? Or you know what I mean? Like, I'd feel comfortable if it was somebody I knew really well training me.
Well, also, like, you know, you saw him in a different light and he saw you in a different light. And that's kind of going back to what I was saying.
That's what you were saying, yeah.
It's building a strengthening and building a relationship that you have in a different, unique way. It's cool. I think about what's that animated film about those emotions, the 5 emotions?
Is it a new movie?
It's a couple of years old now.
It's a couple of years
old.
old.
The Emoji Movie?
No,
it's before that.
It's Pixar, and it's the 5 emotions.
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch those.
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Voiced by the one was voiced by Amy Poehler. So it reminds me about that because you're so used to 5 emotions, right? But then as you get older, then then it's like sad and happy can happen, and then scared and happy can happen, and scared and sad can happen. It's no longer just you're just sad or angry or happy. It's like you get a mixture. And so I think about that with when you're working with your siblings is now you're not with your siblings in a home environment. You're with your siblings in a work environment, and it's a complete different dynamic.
And I think that's probably why our company that we work for and most companies don't allow immediate family to work together. I mean, I'm sure it works out for a lot of people, but I'm sure maybe in other situations it wouldn't be so great.
I think there's more risk because there's more emotion involved.
Yeah, that too.
Referrals too there would be a lot of people, like a lot of families working in places.
Yeah, right.
I think it's more so.
And then I think eventually, you'd be bringing in family life, you'd be bringing it into the workplace, and it would just get messy.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to talk. I wanted to do my little rant.
Yes. Oh,
right.
I'm excited for that.
And then I guess we can wrap it up.
Sure.
Because I think that we're going. Let us know, guys. But I'm thinking 45 minutes to an hour is a decent amount of time.
It's pretty good. Yes.
Anyway.
That went by really quick too.
Yeah, it did. Well,
this time,
that was a good subject to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let it out.
Staring. Ooh. So let me just start by saying that when I was a young girl, I used to stare. I remember we would be out and I'd be, I don't know, I would say between the ages of like maybe 4 and 10. And I always remember I would stare at people, usually girls, because I either thought that they were really pretty or I thought they were cool or I thought they were scary. Whatever. And my mom would always tell me, Amanda, don't stare. It's rude. And it is rude. It is rude. And I remember the majority of the times that I would stare at these girls, they would give me a look like, what are you looking at? Or like they'd look back at me and just kind of intimidate me. Anyway, so I knew from the get-go when I was young, staring is rude. That doesn't stop people from doing it, though.
No, it doesn't.
I have been dealing with this now for, 4 or 5 years. I even dealt with it when I was in Europe back in 2014. People staring. Okay, so you're on the bus. You're at Piazza dei Ferrari in Italy. You are anywhere, really. And there is a grown-ass adult staring at you. Okay, now it's not always a man. And sometimes when it's a man, you can tell when it's a man and he thinks you're cute because he looks and then you look at him, he looks away. It's all like awkward and, it's
romantic.
Not really. Really not romantic at all. But yeah, no, I'm talking about staring, like just staring. I don't know why. I'm like, that's what I wonder. I'm like, why though? Like, do I have something on my face? Do I know this person? Did I kick your dog once upon a time? I love dogs.
I've kicked many dogs.
Oh no, I've never kicked a dog. Honey. Not dogs. Maybe a cat, not a dog.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, And I don't know. Like I want to bounce ideas off you. Like, why do you think people stare?
Well, okay, so I don't get that a lot in the work environment, but in my hometown.
Oh, I'm not even talking about work, but sometimes it happens at work for sure. But I'm talking about in general on the bus. Like I said, when you're just out and about, sitting on a fountain, just eating your lunch.
So
whatever.
I when I recognize that I'm getting stared at, it happens a lot when people are in their fucking vehicle. Why? I don't understand. But first of all, that's very dangerous because they're not like glancing at you.
Oh, it's not when they're stopped. They're like driving.
They are full out driving, and because they're not like they won't be caught in the act. They're going to be driving away, so I can't be like, oh, why are you looking at me? I think when people are driving in a vehicle and they drive by and just glare at you, I think they feel like they're invisible. Like they're not really there. You can't see them.
They're probably thinking like, oh, I'm here now, but I'm not going to be here in 2 seconds. And they're gone. Bye.
Exactly. So in my hometown, that was the majority of my life, walking back and forth to my house, to my school, to
whatever.
What have you. Is people driving and staring at you. And it isn't a couple seconds. It's literally the entire time they drive right by you. And so I think we clock, in the rural area, like 30 kilometers an hour. So they'll be driving pretty slowly and they'll just like look at you. It's like this. So I'm going to just show it so Amanda can see it. It's like...
Really?
And then they'll look back. So
see, now I've never had that because I don't make eye contact with people in cars. It's like, but I'm talking about people who are like literally right across from you on the bus or right beside you. It's like, how can you not notice? They're staring at you. And I just can't help but wonder why. And sometimes, I'll stare back at them, like doing it with my eyes so that they know like, hey, like you're staring at me, like stop.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, not usually. I don't have the energy usually, but sometimes I'll be like, do I know you? Like, is there a reason why? It's just so bloody rude. It is so rude.
Do you get when you say, do I know you, do you get in a conversation with them?
I don't plan on it. I'll be like, do I know you? And then like walk away or like get off the bus. Like, I'll know if I know you. I don't know your face. So.
Yeah. I sometimes get in eye contact with some people. But what I do is I usually am just in my own head. So if I'm looking out in the distance, I think sometimes people think I'm staring at them, even though I'm not. Like that's kind of my worst case because I'm usually in my head when I'm not when I'm waiting for something. So I could be like across the bus and looking ahead of me, but there could be some guy on a bench that's like, I don't know, really far away, and he might think that I'm looking at him, but I'm not. I'm just in my own thoughts.
But you know how I know it's not that though?
Yeah.
Because they will look at me, I will look back at them, kind of like, what do you want? They'll look away, and then I'll see them looking at me again. So that's how I know they're not just staring off into a thought. They're literally looking at me for whatever reason. I got something on my face. Maybe they think I'm attractive, but I doubt it. Maybe they've seen me before. I don't know. But even if you've seen me before, like, I see people all the time who I've seen before. I don't fucking stare at them.
I wonder if there's a study
Move
for
on.
That. I wonder if there's a study for that. Because
I would love to find out because, man.
It could be a lot,
maybe they just weren't raised correctly.
Well,
like staring is rude, honey.
Being attractive sometimes does mean that people will stare at you. Also, you could just be a compelling person. You could be just someone that you just have that thing where people want to be around you.
But what if you're on the bus and you literally haven't said a word the whole time?
Well, that's
you're
how contagious being compelling is sometimes
I'm just thinking about myself on the bus. I'm like the most closed off person.
Yeah.
Cold fucking fish in the back. That's me.
Also, it could be too that you maybe be the one out of the 100 of people in the bus that looks different. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like I'm trying to really. It's just something. It's like a pet peeve of mine.
It annoys me too.
I cannot stand it.
And then I was telling you how I was like, oh, I've seen this happen to you, like actually, and it happened in where we were working. You were calling out a sandwich. And no one was responding, first of all, which is also annoying. We've talked about that in previous podcasts.
I'm pretty sure.
But they stare at you. And they just look at you. So it was this one girl, and you were calling out the sandwich. I have a insert sandwich name, and you repeated yourself, I think, 3 times. And this woman was like,
ugh,
looked at her friend,
Oh, how do you not know? How do you not know what you ordered? And honestly, even if English is your second language, how do you not remember for that 10 seconds that it's in the frickin' oven what it's called?
And so once you put it down, you left.
At that point, I probably threw it down.
And then she came up and picked it up.
Oh my God.
She
really?
She didn't even look at the name or anything. I think she knew it was. Maybe she was afraid of you. I don't know. But anyway, I understand that could be a really annoying thing. And for us, it happens a lot in our work environment.
Another thing I don't get.
For some people, I guess it might not happen that often, and maybe sometimes you're working and you have to look at that person because it's only you and them. So I can get that, but it is like frustrating.
But now, literally, I'll call it out twice if I don't have a response. I figure they're in the bathroom. I set it down,
exactly,
or I throw it down depending on my mood, and then I walk away. It's not my problem anymore. I'm not here to chase you through the store.
Yeah.
You ordered it. You got to follow up with it.
Exactly.
Done.
And I mean, that's what I would do. I would stay by where, like, if I order something, like, let's say at McDonald's, I'm not going to go put my headphones on. I'm not going to go to the bathroom.
Right. And if you do, then it's your responsibility to come back and track down where your food is.
Exactly.
Because you left. Mm-hmm. So it may have been called when you were away. Most likely it did. So that's on you now.
I remember being in the bank once, and this guy was asking for, I think it was like a loan advisor or something like that. And they said, yeah, we'll bring him out right away. And this guy left the fucking bank. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe he forgot his parking. Maybe he forgot to pick up something. He left, and then this guy came out. This loan advisor came out, and he was nowhere to be found. So it's like, you deal, like, why, like, think about it. Like, you need to, like, understand that you are wasting someone's time when you decide to do that. Like, why would you do that? It's so rude. It is very rude.
It's beyond me.
I hate when people come up to the till and they have, like, their phone in their ear, or they have their headphones in their ear and they're doing something else.
I think that's a whole other podcast.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Like, when people are trying to order something and it's like, oh, hi, what can I get for you? And it's like you're interrupting their call. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? You can't get off your phone for 5 seconds to order?
Yeah. Or the drive-through. Have you done the drive-through?
I've worked at a store with a drive-through as a borrowed employee, but I've never worked at an actual drive-through store.
Okay, yeah, I did, and you get sometimes people on the phone.
Oh, right. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Does it, though? I mean, if you're on the phone and you're driving and you're ordering, it's almost kind of worse.
I would definitely be like, hey, I'm going to order something. Hang on a second. Or, like, call you back.
Plan ahead.
What is with people?
So
I just think they're the most important people in that moment, and it's like everybody else doesn't matter, and it's like, well, actually, you should be a little considerate because you are at a drive-through, you are taking up people's time.
I mean, I honestly don't even know how to fix that. Like, how can you solve that problem?
You know what? Honestly, without a big problem, I don't think you can. There's just ignorant people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could try and educate, but are those people really going to change?
No, I don't think so.
Although there was that one guy, the water guy, who did come back, and he got in line, and he was very specific about no ice.
So
I'll never forget that, because that doesn't happen very often.
Sometimes you have to be more, you have to say what you know is the right way. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you got to take every situation for what it is, but...
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's it for today, guys.
I think that was a good one.
That was really good. So, moral of the story is, when it comes to working with siblings, it can be really good. Maybe sometimes if you work longer with them, it can be chaotic. With relationships, what you always want to do with that is you want to make sure you know them personally before you really start officially dating them. If you know that they're cool, if you are liking them, go for it. But make sure you wait out.
You guys, I moved way too quickly.
Yeah.
So wait it out. I would say 3 weeks to a month is a good amount of time to get to know somebody, to get to know them enough to know if you'd be compatible as a couple.
Exactly.
Give it a month.
When it comes to friends, always look for that outlet because it's really cool. You're working with people that you're able to remember yourself as you're human. You're actually alive and breathing, and it reminds you every day that you can actually engage with your friends, but then also bring that out to the customers too. Try to be that sort of person, and it's okay to be agitated with your friend when you're working with them. It's completely fine. Just know how to direct yourself in a certain way. And then when it comes to customers, people that you don't know people that you don't necessarily like, be neutral. Try to stay neutral. Do what you have to do in terms of your position. But that's kind of what I
And I think that for that, it's just as simple as saying, you know, I just want to keep my work separate from my personal life.
Exactly.
I want to keep it professional. And I don't think that anybody can really fault you on that.
And it's okay to leave your customer relationship at the door.
Absolutely.
Leave
it's probably better.
Yeah, and you don't take it out the door unless it's
of course
networking.
Yeah, or if it's the love of your life, then, you know, go for it.
Of course. Of fucking course, Justin. So we have an email, guys, just to let you know. It's HCIFHY at gmail.com. You know, you can just give us some critiques, but you can also give us some stories that we can talk about in our podcast. Be really cool to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and just feedback.
Feedback. Are we too vulgar? Are we too this? Are we not enough? Are we not enough? So just
too quickly or
speaking too quickly.
Anything.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for the day. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.
See you later. And
have a great fucking day.
We're
getting there.
We're getting there. Bye.
Bye.